The year is 2022. There's a lot of craziness out there, especially in political pundits. So I'm going to be psychoanalyzing these strangers and ranking them. Now, obviously, I have a political bias. If I disagree with someone on abortion, I'm not going to say they're insane just because of that. This is more about their behavior, their character. Now, you might say, well, it's going to be hard to cleanly separate it like that, because to some level, your beliefs are an extension of the person you are. And you know what? I don't remember asking. Now, I'll try and be objective. Starting with Ben. Facts don't care about my yarmulke. You know what? How much I disagree with him, he mostly comes across as a relatively normal dude. Yeah, he's a little dweebish. You know, the whole hippity-hoppity isn't real music. And that time he spent 20 minutes debating a dead John Lennon.
Here we go. Full-scale comic. This giant house, by the way. A brotherhood of man. Never existed and never will.
It's got a bit of that old-school repressed religious nuttiness to him. But old Ben just seems to mostly hang out with his wife and yell at lefties. For this list, that's relatively normal. Alright, JP. There's one recent incident that sums up Peterson perfectly. So he misgenders a trans person on Twitter, gets suspended for breaking the TOS, just pending the removal of the tweet. Now, for a second, let's imagine a normal person's response to this. Okay? Now here's Peterson.
If I'm required to acknowledge that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. What rules, you sons of bitches? Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
He couldn't just say, man, I'm done with that platform. No, he had to go on this insane grandstanding, fedora tipping, my dad's the owner of Microsoft type of energy monologue.
I am employing this awkward and impossible naming style because it is now apparently mandatory, and am probably doing it wrong nonetheless, as you're doing it wrong is the whole point of what has been made mandatory. But also, I'm trying to make a point. I've essentially been banned from Twitter.
Dude, I can't. This is an alien, bro. His speech is about as precise as a surgeon with Parkinson's. I feel bad for the people who think that his language diarrhea is a sign of his intelligence. It's a sign that his brain is Swiss cheese. The only way this could have been more perfect is if he started inexplicably crying. Back to the story. Turns out he backtracks and deletes the tweet anyway, because he's clearly so addicted to that platform.
He basically threw a tantrum to announce he was quitting Twitter. Nobody quits Twitter.
He was always a little weird. He does those funny little hand movements. There was that time he spoke about his grandma's pubes.
Her genital region was exposed dimly. It had the appearance of a thick mat of hair. She pushed this at my face. Yes, Grandma.
But I could box all that as, like, you know, kind of endearing and quirky. Lately, he's gotten crazy. I don't know if it's the all-meat diet or the benzos that fried his brain. Like, he literally just called some random woman ugly for no reason. Even if you disagree, he used to be seen as, like, this inspirational, calm, logical guy. Now he just seems especially cruel and just sad. Yup, that's an easy unhinged. Okay, Destiny is insane, but it's a subtle insanity. I say this because he will, let's say, closely associate with a lot of insane people. And look, far be it from me to judge a Coomer, but as an outsider, it almost feels like he tries to hook up with every girl that appears on his stream. Also, his content, man. You know, I look at his channel, like, it used to have titles like Debating Lauren Southern on Immigration. And now, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm looking at. This looks like the ramblings of a maniac, and I imagine all his viewers are like strapped in a psych ward somewhere smearing their own excrement on the walls. How do people watch multiple hours of this every day? You know who Destiny reminds me a lot of? He's like Dr. House from the show House.
He likes crazy people, likes the way they think.
Yeah, House is supposed to be like this renegade genius doctor, right? Supposedly a paragon of rationality. During the course of an episode, he will take insane stabs trying to diagnose a patient. Like, his theory will be some super obscure, complicated thing. And because he's clever, often all the other doctors are like, oh my god, yes, let's start the treatment, let's go check that out. And then he turns out to be wrong several times. And then you realize there's little logical deduction at play here. This is a madman waving his dick around.
You have no evidence to support a poisoning diagnosis, which is why it's going to be so cool when I turn out to be right.
That's my view of Destiny with anything non-political. He will make insane leaps, like seemingly random speculations.
Pretty sure Miskiv is maybe completely gone. His streaming career might be over.
Would you look at that? It's a stream. And he projects like crazy. Pokimane fans will never forget. He called her a Machiavellian psycho because he read a couple of texts and didn't listen properly to the words she was saying. Whatever calculations run in his brain to judge people, they're off. Yet he keeps confidently doing it. It's pathological.
Make a note. I should never doubt myself.
He'll also regularly get insanely mad at the most innocuous shit. But in other times, he'll have the patience of a saint. So yeah, all in all, the dude's a bit nuts. For more evidence, just look at his Twitter anytime it's not banned.
You'll have to excuse Dr. House. He mistakes immaturity for edginess.
I'm sorry, it works so well. They even look a bit alike. Alright, Tucker. I don't think Tucker is crazy. I think he's evil. Uniquely so because of how people like him exploit crazy people. What they've done with Kanye is, I think, genuinely disgusting.
Instead, the enemies of his ideas dismissed West, as they have for years, as mentally ill. But is West crazy?
Yes, the answer is yes. And it's obvious he knows it when you see parts of his interview that conveniently didn't make the final edit.
I have visions that God gives me just over and over on community building and how to build these free energy, kinetic fully kinetic energy communities where we are humble in the way that we present ourselves.
Here's one of the 12 rules. If you speak to God, you're religious. But if God speaks to you, you're off your meds. I'm not saying everything he's saying is because of his illness, but it's a fair bit. He cannot hold a train of thought intact. He bounces through topics like a jackrabbit. He's extremely paranoid. The dude's off the perk. Everyone who worked on that show knows he's not alright. If you go to a psych ward, you will find 20 Kanyes.
It was a Jewish doctor.
But just because he's him and he has the weight of that name, you get these disgusting pundits using a sick person to push their own agendas.
Once our brain gets to a point of spraining, people do everything to make it worse.
I mean, they were parading him around like he was a brave truthsayer.
We've rarely heard a man speak so honestly and so movingly about what he believes.
Damn, these got me. I hate these more than a Nazi.
I mean, I don't even care about the anti-Semitism and all the dumb shit he's saying. The hope now is that Yidolf doesn't kill himself. And you just know if it does happen, all the conspiracy nuts are gonna think that the Jews did it. So yeah, for all those reasons, this dude is beyond insane, he's evil. Okay, Vaush. Now, I don't know much about him except that he once harassed a chick on Discord and that he speaks like a wizard trying to cast a spell on me. So I'll just put him at a kind of kooky. Now, Crowder is absolutely unhinged. Seeing him turn into a sweating, shaking ballsack of a human at the mere mention or sight of Sam Cedar, the amount of times he cross-dresses or acts gay ironically, or even the types of insults he throws at people he disagrees with.
Okay, so the little queer could eat his chips all nonchalantly. Chip, 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 but you can eat just one. Like dicks.
I don't usually believe the meme that, homophobes are secretly gay actually. Like, Ben's homophobic, but he's kind of normal about it. But with Crowder, it really feels like all his jokes are like a mask of cope. Can't forget him doing a reenactment of George Floyd's death to prove that Chauvin didn't actually kill him. Maybe I'm breaking my no politics rule here, but you gotta be a bit nuts to think your audience is that dumb. Bro, that's on his back/shoulder with barely any pressure. Also, the weird accents and bits he always does.
I applaud, man! Barack Obama, mother, I'm the president, applauding that head!
The energy with this dude is just off, man. I can see why his stand-up failed, and it's clearly rotted his soul inside out. The fact that he's always wearing gun holsters for some reason? Yeah, this dude is all over the shop. He's going in unhinged. Now, Contrapoints. Well, we all know there's one trait that immediately signals Contrapoints is crazy. She's a woman. I'm very online, but this person, I think she was studying like a PhD in philosophy or something, and she's making like these long-ass video essays about the history of cringe where she references people like Leafy. She has all this random esoteric internet culture knowledge. If you want to be like that, involved in all this, and make those types of videos and be weirdly intellectual about it, if I had to guess, that is not a fully stable person. Another one to the kinda kooky. Alright, now Tim, I just got one question. The beanie man, what does it mean? It's like he's a cartoon character who can't change his outfit. Maybe it's like the symbiote from Spider-Man. Like it gives him the power to say obviously dumb shit without embarrassment.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Trump had a 49-state landslide.
Obviously, the real answer is that he's insecure about his baldness.
And then you look like you're trying to hide something.
Oh, well, that's what they do, these guys with the hats, don't they?
Okay, now this is a bit of a pet peeve of mine because on the one hand, I sympathize. But it's like the same thing with chicks and makeup. Okay, it makes you feel confident and whatever, but now and then, you gotta be able to own what you look like. It should be acceptable for society. Otherwise, we get in the cycle where you hiding your insecurity makes other people insecure too. I don't like this idea of being in a constant appearance rat race. Unless I'm wrong and he just really likes that hat. But other than that, he seems pretty normal. He's just a late 2000s alt-rock skater boy. Too bad he stumbled into a career in politics. Hasan, now he cares way too much about what online nobodies think about him.
What a fucking Weasley.
And funnily enough, that doesn't mean he's more open to words of criticism. It actually means he's more closed off. Like he can't seem to tell the difference between just pure illogical hate, which every big figure will get to some extent, and like genuine critique. He seems so fragile that he lumps it all in one category and tries to chuck it all in the bin.
My issue as a trans person is the fact that you, a guy that isn't super well versed on trans shit, brought on a known transphobe knowing he might bring up transphobic shit. You aren't exactly a Vaush at trans debates. I hope that the rest of your life is as horrible as it is every single day, okay? Suck my dick.
It should go without saying, but literally every single successful streamer is a crazy, insecure weirdo. It's in the job description when you apply. So deductively, Hasan is crazy. I mean, why would such a blessed man keep this Lord Farquaad looking hairstyle? Put him right next to Destiny, where he belongs. After the last few weeks, I gotta include Nick Fuentes.
So Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes.
I don't know what to make of his character. On the one hand, through sheer schizo willpower, he managed to transform himself from the kid who ate boogers to meeting with Trump and Kanye. I mean, socially, I can see he's a savvy dude. He's self-assured and charismatic when he speaks, he mixes humor well, he's good looking, and usually he seems pretty calm, he doesn't give much away, but now and then the bubbling unhingedness comes to the surface. Also, you gotta be a bit crazy to be openly and willingly known as like a racist or whatever. Like, it's almost respectable. Being able to handle being that hated is kind of crazy. And here's what we end up with. Agree, disagree, let me know. This is just a way for me to share my opinions about these people. There's some names I could have included if I knew more about them. Maybe another time. But yeah, peace soup.